Welcome to the Breaking 90 podcast, where we talk about all things sustainable fat loss. We take people on 90-day journeys to creating fat loss forever. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoy the episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Breaking 90 podcast. I'm your host, Alex Harriman, here with my co-host, Kelly Sarlo. We are two of the coaches of Breaking 90 Fitness. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thank you for listening. Hey, Kelly.
Hi, Alex. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Do you have a story for me?
Just something fun that happened the other day at the gym. Often if I go to the gym in the morning, Emerson's at school, but then some days I can't get it in the morning, so I'll go when he's done school and I'll bring him with me, and he'll usually just play his Nintendo like in the corner. And the other day, like mid-workout, he came out like while I was working out, and I was like, "Buddy, what are you doing? Like, is your Nintendo not working?" He's like, "No, I just want to watch." And I was like, "Oh, cool." So he like came over and started watching, and then as I was working out, like out of the corner of my eye, I see him standing up and like mirroring me. And the coach at the gym brought over some like equipment for him, so like a smaller box, some smaller weights, and he started like doing the whole workout with the class, and it was the best thing ever. And he was going so hard, and he's sweating and he's breathing heavy, and everybody like high-fived him at the end of class, and he was like, "How did I do, Dad?" And everybody's like, "You smoked us." And he's like, "Yeah, I did smoke you guys." And he's like, he was just riding this wave. And so now he's like, "I want you to go to the gym every night and bring me, and I don't want to play Nintendo anymore. I just want to work out with you."
No. Oh, my heart is exploding.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was cool.
Good for you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun when you see that kind of thing start to happen.
Yeah, that's lovely. I hope that continues.
Me too.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. That's all I want to talk about right now, but I know you did bring a topic for the podcast.
Yeah, something that I posed a question to our members the other day on one of our coaching calls. So we do like a group coaching call once a week with our members where we just bounce ideas around, a chat as a group, help support each other and give ideas and suggestions for different things. So that's something we do weekly with the Breaking 90 clients. And a question that I brought up to the membership is, how do you think, or do you think mental health plays a massive role on your physical health and fitness? And I let them think about it, and then we answered anonymously on like a survey to see what everybody's thoughts were. And I think it was about 3/4 of the people thought it did, and 25% thought that it didn't. And so then from there we broke it down, and the exercise that I did was, so we have what we call the hidden factors in our health and fitness. And you if you've listened to this podcast a lot, you've probably heard me talk about these hidden factors. So we know that nutrition and fitness plays a massive role on our health and fitness. Nobody's going to argue that. But then there's the other factors. So the other factors that we talk about often are sleep quality, sleep quantity, stress, total daily movement as opposed to just exercise specific movement. Um, Things like our hydration, our water, the nutrients that we're actually choosing within our overall nutrition. Um,
You got them. I think it was 7 factors that we did.
yeah, and there are more, honestly. That's not all of it, but there's lots of little factors like that. And I say little, I mean, don't get me wrong, these are all major things, but they all support one another in achieving our total health and fitness. And so if we only focus on like hitting my calorie goal and getting my workout in, like that's often not enough to get you where you want to go. So what we did was we took each of those factors and I said, okay, do you think your mental health directly impacts your sleep? Everybody's like, yeah, of course it does. If I'm like really stressed out or not feeling good, like I have a hard time sleeping. Okay, great. So we know it affects our sleep. Do you think your mental health affects the nutrition choices you make? Yeah, absolutely. Same thing. Like if I'm in a bad place or having a bad day, like I want to turn to food that is comfortable. Do you think your mental health affects your exercise? Well, yeah, it does, because if I'm having a rough day once again, like I'm not as motivated to get to the gym. I don't want to do all that stuff. I usually feel better afterwards, but sometimes I can't get there. Do you think that it affects um your total daily movement? Well, yeah, on a day where I'm really struggling, like I might just lay on the couch and do nothing, right? And so we went through each of these hidden factors, and everybody agreed, yes, I think my mental health affects this. I think my mental health affects this. I think my mental health affects this. And then we went through, okay, do you think each of these factors directly impacts your overall health and fitness? And everybody's like, yeah, of course. So in turn, we know that our mental health directly affects our health and fitness. And it doesn't feel direct, because at first glance, I can understand why people would choose no. I can see why some people would choose that. But when you start to break it down, it affects us in every little thing that we do. And hugely. Like this isn't a minor topic. It massively affects the way that we perform and what we do on a day-to-day basis, which plays a huge role in our health and fitness. Um, so the message from this was not that we need to fix everything all at once, and we all need to spend hours a day cleaning up our mental health, but all of these categories, if you look at them like branches or supports, when one weakens, it weakens the whole system. When one strengthens, it strengthens the whole system. So we cannot neglect any one of these branches. We have to start looking for opportunities to improve and take care of each branch. Typically, you're not going to make advancements in every single one of these categories at the same time. But we can make an advancement in one and really work on sustaining and balancing the others. And then we can balance there, move over to another category, and really focus on growing and strengthening in that category while we balance the rest. As opposed to strengthening one, letting all of the others fall to the wayside. Strengthening one, letting all of the others fall to the wayside. You will never make progress if you allow yourself to do that. I know I've been talking for a long time. I'm going to break here in a second, but it's not, I'm not saying that at some points you're going to get hit in one of these categories. There's things that are outside of our control. Like often we're going to get hit in a way that it affects our mental health. We're going to get hit in a way that it affects our stress levels. You can't prevent that. You can strengthen yourself, you can strengthen your resiliency, you can give yourself ample opportunity to handle situations, but you can't always predict and prevent what's to come. So there's going to be times where one of these branches or these supports does weaken. But if we acknowledge that and we prepare for that and we put ourselves in the most advantageous position, we can bounce back a lot quicker, and we can start to strengthen it all as a whole a lot quicker again. Um, yeah, go ahead.
I love what you're saying. Um, what's really fascinating to me, human beings and how we operate, is our idea of what we have control over and where we decide or don't know that we have control over, right? So this massively impacts how we operate in our day-to-day lives. So if someone is of the mindset or has been told, I'll say a belief passed down to them, that your mental health is genetic. It just, some people are happier than others. Some people are mentally more healthy than others. And we have no control over that. Then we succumb to helplessness, powerlessness, right? And we just think, what is, and what isn't. So there's this surrender. And I'm not talking about the healthy surrender. I mean that we start to, as you mentioned, let those other things fall because we just think, oh well, that really sucks. I guess these were the cards that I was dealt. When we look at each of the factors that you've outlined and we start to figure out, okay, in each of those things, what is within my control to affect them individually, then we start to gain the healthy kind of control, which is our sense of power that we can exert over our own lives. We might not be able to predict everything, but we have a certain level of control within ourselves. That gains self esteem, that builds self esteem, right? And all of the things that we're talking about when we take daily actions toward our nutrition, our movement, our sleep quality and quantity, our stress or how we're handling it, and our water intake, to name the items that you were talking about. All of those practices or disciplines are an expression of that self-esteem, but they are also contributing factors to it. So it's a reciprocal relationship, right? When we come back to the idea that we don't have control and what is just is, we are no longer making the effort to contribute to it. Our self-esteem dwindles and we fall out of that practice or discipline of the things that actually bolster what we're talking about. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, I want to outline that kind of math equation that if you are approaching any of these factors, right? Even something like sleep. Some people will say, "Oh, I'm just a bad sleeper." Okay, maybe you don't fall asleep as fast as others. Maybe you don't hit as deep cycles as others. Maybe you don't sleep as long as others. But you can control your sleep hygiene, the way that you put yourself to bed at night, staying away from your screen time or overstimulating yourself before bedtime. You can contribute to making that just a fraction better than it was, right? And training your body to get to a different state of knowing how to sleep and sleep restfully, then you are exerting the most amount of healthy control that you can. That helps every other factor that you're experiencing.
Also, like, there's going to be factors that are out of your control, but
Yep.
there's a lot of factors that are in your control. I can't tell you how often we hear somebody in that example say that I'm not good at sleeping, but then we look at all of your sleep opportunities and you're still not doing everything in your power to give yourself the best sleep. It's like, yeah, I'm not good at sleep, but I also stay up too late. I drink caffeine too late in the day. I have irregular sleep patterns. I work out super late at night. I work until 9 p.m. Like, okay, you're not, maybe you can't control all of these. Maybe some of these things have to happen, but are there opportunities here to make our sleep chances a little bit better? Probably. And it's no different than people coming to us and saying, I can't lose weight because of X, Y, and Z. I can't lose weight because of my genetics or these medical conditions or um whatever other obstacles stand in somebody's way. Agreed, these things are making it harder for you. Are you still doing everything in your power? Are you eating enough protein, fruits, and vegetables? Are you focusing on adding daily movement? Well, no, because I can't lose weight anyway. Do you not think that that stuff is still going to allow you to at least maintain better or stay or feel better or stay closer to your goal by throwing in the towel and getting in that all or nothing mindset? It's saying fuck it, I don't care. I even though this is working against me, I'm going to contribute to that. I'm going to pour gasoline on this fire. And so you have to consider that in all areas, like that when things are a struggle in any one of these branches or supports that we talked about, it's really easy to get into the all or nothing thinking and be like, well, screw it. Like, this is so freaking hard right now. I'm just going to instead make it harder. I'm instead going to move myself further from my goal instead of controlling what I can, even if it's minimal, knowing that at some point that is going to make your journey so much easier.
Yeah, and I think what a lot of people do not understand, or maybe just refuse to look at, is that when we get into that fuck it mentality in health and fitness, that fuck it mentality does not stay just there. It bleeds into other areas of your life, right? When you surrender to the idea of, I am powerless in this, I have no control over this, that attitude gets carried with you into your conversations, gets carried with you into your performances at work, right? Where we start to get into this like trickle effect or ripple effect of helplessness. And then we wonder why our mental health is not doing well.
Yep. And it's not even just that, it becomes exponentially harder to climb out of that hole.
Absolutely.
For the person who wants to start waking up at like some ungodly hour to add exercise to their routine, but they only do it like twice a week, that's never going to get easier for you. Those mornings are going to suck. So I encourage those people to wake up a little bit earlier every day. Even if you're only getting up crazy early twice to get that workout in, getting up a little bit earlier every other day and putting some sort of placeholder there starts to create a routine. So what I mean by this is, say you're waking up at 5 a.m. twice a week to work out, and then the other days you're waking up at like 8, your body's not going to adjust to this. So if we bump that back to say 7 or 7:30 even, and we get in like a 10-minute walk on those days, now we're putting a placeholder in there for the days that we're not getting to the gym. We're getting our body used to waking up earlier, getting in some form of exercise. Life event comes along, your mental health takes a big hit, or you're struggling in any one of those other areas, and all of a sudden like waking up at 5 is not really achievable for you at this time, but you know you want to get back to that. Still waking up a couple minutes early, getting in that 10-minute walk, holding that placeholder, that routine, doing what you can, what you are ready, willing, and able to commit to now is going to make it a million times easier to bounce back to that if and when the time is right for you to bounce back to that. If you say, screw it, right now is not happening for me, I'm going back to sleeping into 8 o'clock every day, you're going to have to climb a mountain to get back to the point where you were waking up at 5 a.m. to get to the gym.
Yeah, and I mean that translates to your plate too, right? If you don't have, for whatever reason, the time or the energy to make a fully balanced meal, but you have enough time and resources and convenience to pull a package of, vegetables and make sure they're at least included in your meal every single time, then on the days where you can do better and have a protein, carbon, vegetable, great, but at least your bare ass minimum is met that a veggie happens at every single meal, right? That is something over nothing. And that is going to make it easier, like we said, as you're exerting the control that you have on those days, it makes it easier to do a little bit better the next day,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
as opposed to your fuck it, I'm just going to grab McDonald's and not even worry about a vegetable.
Yeah. There's ketchup on McDonald's. That's made from a vegetable, right?
Sure.
They were like, no, it's a fruit, it's a fruit.
Oh my God. I love that you brought this back up.
Yeah, I think every once in a while we cover a topic on one of those coaching calls, and I'm like, you know what? So many people need to hear this message. So many people need to think about this and factor this in. So it's worth bringing to the podcast. So what I'm gonna leave you with today is, when we're looking for opportunities to um hit our bare ass minimum. So just a refresher, our bare ass minimum is the least we could be doing to still move forward. Okay. So we often set our goals and what our ideals. I want you to set your bare ass minimums. What's the least that I could do on my worst day to still move a little bit forward towards my goal? Now, when we're setting those, when we're looking at those, just like Kelly kind of said, like looking for opportunities to add vegetables to a meal that otherwise isn't ideal. Make this as simple as possible on yourself when life is hard. If you have the resources to get meal prep during those times, get meal prep. That's not always going to work. I get it. It's expensive. It doesn't fit every life. That's fine. That's just one suggestion. Buy baby carrots that you don't need to wash or chop or prep, and you can just carry a bag around with you and eat like a bag of chips. Buy pre-chopped broccoli. When you have to drive for a long time and stop it for something convenient, stop at a grocery store and go to the prepared food section and get a salad. Like these are things that aren't adding time and stress to your plate because they're still in line with what you already would have done, but they're going to absolutely add up and contribute and make it easier for you to bounce back when the time is right. So if you're getting in that, like, oh my God, I can't, preparing a vegetable right now is like so overwhelming. Like, yeah, but a bag of baby carrots is still going to achieve what you're trying to achieve. It
Yeah.
might not taste the best or might not match the meal that you're hoping to match it with. It might not be your favorite, but like sometimes it's just about getting it done, right? The same thing applies with exercise. Like, look for the simplest version that you are ready, willing, and able to commit to right now. Like, if that's doing some exercises while you lie on the floor watching TV, then do that. If that's getting up and going for a 10-minute walk, do that. Don't get stuck in that all or nothing thinking.
Beautiful.
Okay, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Wherever you are listening, please take the time to rate it. Leave us a comment, leave us feedback, take a screenshot, share it to your Instagram. All of these things really, really help us, and we really appreciate it. And as always, if you have any questions, if you have any further thoughts on this topic, don't hesitate to reach out to either of us.